A warm welcome everyone, my name is Nick and once again it's time for the 2-week roundup. Let's have a look what's been happening this time round. But before we do so, we'll look at the pinball games. Yes, I've remembered the correct order this time. We'll have a look at the pinball games we had a look at this time as we sail our way through the Pinball Arcade Season 6 on the PlayStation 4. Also available of course on Xbox One and PC via Steam. The first table we looked at was 8-Ball Deluxe by FARSIGHT Studios in 2017 and based on the real life table by Bally from 1981. So it's quite an early table this, and the advantage with some of the early tables is the rules aren't too complicated. Quite often it involves just hitting targets and that's about it really, but based around the form of a pool table, nice and lights, you have to hit drop targets and light up all the balls and then finally get the 8 ball in the right pocket, well all of them basically. Have a look at the video, but other pool tables or snooker tables in the Pinball Arcade included Big Shot and I believe Cue Ball, I think it's called Cue Ball Wizard, which actually had a live cue ball on the playfield and Clint Eastwood talking to you throughout the whole thing. So yes, that's good, 8-Ball Deluxe. And the other table, which is quickly becoming a favourite of mine just because the subject matter, although the modes are extremely complicated, is Doctor Who, also by FARSIGHT in 2017, as all of Season 16, Season 6 is, based on the table by Bally from 1992. It features the 6 Doctors at the time, I believe, starting from William Hartnell, then Troughton, Pertwee, Tom Baker, Peter Davidson, Colin Baker, and then Sylvester McCoy. Was that 6? I'd have to work back again. Maybe I missed some out, I don't know. But yep, it's a very good table. It's got the Daleks on it. The Doctor Who music plays in the background, or at least a chip version of it. And I'm quite a fan of this one. I like it. There is another Doctor Who table later on in Season 6, which I don't think is based on any real life table. It's a bit weird in FARSIGHT Studios. And it's got Peter Capaldi in it as the most recent Doctor. Graphics on these tables are absolutely fantastic, so if you're into pinball and you've got PlayStation 4 or PC or Xbox One, then have a look at these. If you're not into pinball, which not all of you are, then probably best swerving. But the reason why I like pinball, as I mentioned countless times before, and you look at retro gaming and what come before, basically it was the basic pinball tables, and now these are being digitally recreated. Excellent stuff. So before we come to the top 6, there is a game that didn't make it this time, which I think you would have predicted didn't make it. Bit of an April Fool's joke. It's on the ZX Spectrum. It was Advanced Lawnmower Simulator, published by Your Sinclair, the magazine, in 1988. Now, a bit of a wheeze at the time by them, because they advertised it as a game that was £14.99, trying to fool its readers into it's a real game. But if you see the review, basically you have to cut the grass by just pressing the letter M, basically. And you have a selection of lawnmowers. Well, only one of them actually works. And once you mow the lawn, you've pretty much done it. It's not worth £14.99, but good to get it free on a magazine tape cover. Yeah, Advanced Lawnmower Simulator. I think they made up a publishing house called GardenSoft as well. But move on, there's nothing to see here. Unless you're really, really into gardening or cutting grass, are you? Let me know, perhaps. So, the top 6. In 6th place, I'm going to get into trouble for this, but anyway, because it's a firm favourite by a lot of people. 6th place was EMLYN Hughes International Soccer on the Commodore Amiga, published by AUDIOGENIC in 1989. Now, I'm really heavily on the Amiga into the Kickoff series completely, and Sensible Soccer as well, so I played them all the time, and I really struggle with other games to try and see them in a good light. Well, EMLYN Hughes' International Soccer's played, horizontally. I prefer top-down views, it's always losing me straight away. And it's a bit of a complicated control system, but I have been told in the comments section, if you spend enough time on it, you can get a lot out of it. The menu systems get into the game isn't particularly brilliant, but I can see potentially a good game underneath, so perhaps I need a lot more practice on it. So I'm putting it in 6th place. EMLYN Hughes, his name was all over it as the license, but he doesn't feature in the game whatsoever, so they've just tagged him on to the end. So whether before it was just International Soccer and they bunged EMLYN Hughes' name onto it, it does look quite likely. In 5th place, From the arcades, it's PAC-LAND on the ZX Spectrum, published by GRANDSLAM Entertainments in 1989. Now, we will come to this in the Amiga in the next couple of weeks, I think. But on the Spectrum, it's a little bit lackluster. If you're expecting the same as the arcade, you're going to be a bit disappointed. But it's Pac-Man, but not in a maze sort of environment, on a stage environment, where jumping over ghosts in cars and dodging flying ghosts in airplanes, Pac-Man has to complete each stage to rescue a fairy, which he keeps under his hat, and then release them into some amazing fairyland. Yeah. 1989, the same as EMLYN Hughes International Soccer, so take your pick which one of those you wanted to play. I prefer, my favourite Pac-Man game is probably Pac-Mania on the Commodore Amiga. That's got a bit more sustenance to it for me. I don't know what you think. Let me know if you got something different than that. And in 4th place, again on the ZX Spectrum, International Match Day by Ocean in 1985. I reviewed this on the 128K because I think that's the only thing it come out on. Again, it's a football game that I'm pretty hopeless at, so I tried to keep an open mind. I've already reviewed Match Day on the ZX Spectrum 48K, which came out before this, and essentially it is the same game. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how they got away with this one. It plays the tune Match of the Day before each game kicks off, so the graphics chip on the 128K is much better than the 48K one. Does it play any quicker? It doesn't seem to be using more of the memory outside the music. The main differences seem to be, for me, the crowd seem to make a noise throughout the game. It sounds like a bit of interference, to be honest with you, but it's probably the best that they could do in 1985, so I don't put anything away from it there. And when you score a goal, or more likely the other team score a goal, there's crowd celebrations. I was playing Spain, but they didn't look like Spanish supporters. There's an option to set a handicap, which come in quite useful at half time, and I gave myself a load of goals and won. As 1 player, 2 player, or you can do cup competitions or European Championship. It's called International Match Day, but you won't see any teams outside of Europe. So the original Match Day had fictitious teams, although you could change the name. International Match Day's got European teams, so, you know, it's a bit more of an experience, I suppose, but essentially the same game. So in 6th place this time was EMLYN Hughes International Soccer on the Commodore Amiga by AUDIOGENIC in 89. 5th place PAC-LAND on the ZX Spectrum by GRANDSLAM Entertainments in 89, based on the arcade by Namco of course. And in 4th place, International Match Day by Ocean in 1985. If you disagree with any of these orders, I always welcome your opinions because a lot of it is based on nostalgia. Before we come to the top 3 then, we did review another PlayStation 4 game. I had a look at various elements of it. It's a pretty big game. It's Star Wars Battlefront by Electronic Arts in 2015. At this time of recording, they're working on Star Wars Battlefront 2, which will come out near the end of the year, I think. So I thought I might as well give the first one a look. I got this for a budget price for £15. I think I would have been disappointed if I bought it for full price when it came out, because in terms of single player, there's no real campaign there. But the graphics are pretty, well, they're good actually, but there's not much content in there. There's training missions where you can destroy probe droids, brief missions where you're in a X-Wing and so forth. Different maps, although they're not very big. But my favourite part of the whole game was probably speeder biking in the Endor Forest, where you're chasing a band of rebels and got to blast them off their speeder bikes. The maps, well, you need quite quick reactions, so you don't actually die straight away. But after playing a little while, you realise that the map goes round in a circle like lap base, so after a while you can learn it pretty easy and look quite the skillful person. But Star Wars, what's not to like really? Good game, but not much of it. Hopefully this is addressed in Star Wars Battlefront 2, but it's a game I'll probably go back to quite a lot. I probably won't play it in multiplayer too much, and that's when the DLCs and expansions come into play. I think there's Death Star Run, Bespin, but I don't think it's worth investing in these if online, because the amount of people is going to go down, because Star Wars Battlefront 2 is going to actually stamp all over it, because you can play from characters from any era. The first Battlefront just concentrates on the original trilogy really. So top 3. In third place, again we see EMLYN HUGHES. EMLYN HUGHES Arcade Quiz on the Commodore Amiga, published by AUDIOGENIC in 1990. I don't know why this come out. It's a year after EMLYN HUGHES International Soccer. Maybe AUDIOGENIC had the license on him for a certain amount of years, so they chuck out this quiz thing. Why is it higher than the soccer game? Well, the soccer game is more advanced, but there's better examples. A quiz game, you can't really go wrong. It's not a very advanced game, but it's got a lot of varied questions. It plays a bit like a pub quiz team or quiz machine, and what it attempts to do, it does well. By answering questions, you move gradually on a grid, going from right to left. If you're not quick enough or get too many wrong, you drift too far to the left and lose. Vice versa, if you get lots right, you go to the right and then get into the landing pad and win. EMLYN's actually in this one. You do actually see his face, so there we go. It's not worth the full price of the game coming at the time, but, you know, third place. I can't argue with that one. And in second place, a movie tie-in. It's Planet of the Apes on the Game Boy Advance, published by Ubisoft in 2001. So the more modern of the games we looked at, apart from the PS4 games. You control, it's based on the movie from the late 60s, where you return to Earth after going out of orbit in a spaceship, and apes have taken over the Earth. But I'm sure you knew this. It's stage based, it's very 2D, and you must, well, complete it. Jump on levels, avoid snakes, do 4 rolls, and attack chimps. The fighting isn't brilliant, but the music's okay, it's atmospheric. It could offer a bit more, but there's a few stages there. They're not that varied. They do differ in colour, but once you complete it, I don't think there's a great deal of replay value. So, as you can see, I'm not blown away with too many of the games this time, apart from maybe Star Wars Battlefront and this next one, which claimed the top spot. It got in first place. What is it? Well, now I know you probably won't watch all the videos. Some of you do. A lot of you just... a lot go up, to be fair. A lot of you just watch the systems that you grew up with. But in first place is another pinball game. It's a Time Scanner on the ZX Spectrum by Activision in 1989. Now, I reviewed pinball games in the past on the Spectrum, most notably Advanced Pinball Simulator and Pinball Power. This one is the most realistic out of all three. It's split screen, so it scrolls over 2 screens vertically. Also has a multi-ball feature, which is absolutely fantastic. The first stage is Volcano, then it does go to Ruins and a couple of other ones. Last one's like a Tetris sort of, not Tetris, like a breakout sort of level. So you complete all the tasks on the table, then hit the ball up the time ramp at the top. Look at the review to have a look at that, and then you go to the next table. It's pretty tricky, but I'm just blown away by the multi-ball. It slows down ever so slightly because I'm playing it on the 48K, but yeah, I was really impressed by this game, by the ball physics. It's probably a game I will come back to at some stage. Time Scanner, it come from a recommendation. I hadn't heard it before then, which is a bit of a shame, but playing it now, I thought it was quite good. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag this time around. So in third place, it's EMLYN HUGHES Arcade Quiz on the Commodore Amiga by AUDIOGENIC in 1990. Second place, Planet of the Apes by Ubisoft in 2001. And in the top spot is Time Scanner by Activision in 1989. Thanks for watching the videos as always. Really appreciated as we zip above 1,000 subscribers. The channel is now monetized. I'm not expecting to be a billionaire or anything like that, but hopefully it might improve in search. If you like the videos, then please thumb them up because that improves my search standing as well and helps me keep going. And till next time, thanks for watching as always. Have a great weekend and goodbye. Goodbye.